So if we're going to try to figure out A here, we've got 3 rectangular surfaces and 2 congruent triangles. So let's start with the triangles. And on the triangles, we know, what do we know? We know that it is 4 there and 3 there. And since that's my right triangle, you know, this is 3, this is 4, so that could be, the 4 would be my height. The 3, it's a 3, 4, 5 triangle, but we don't need all of those sides to figure that out. What we do need is the one that's straight up and down. And the one that's straight up and down has to be on the right triangle, on part of the right angle, not the right triangle, on the right angle. So it's going to be 1/2 times 3 times 4, and of course, since there's 2 of them, it's going to be times 2, so that's going to cancel, and so that's going to be 12. So those take care of my 2 triangles. So let's take a look at this rectangle right there. The one side is 3, and along here looks like that would be 6. So 3 times 6, or 18. Okay, so we've got that one done. Let's do the bottom one. Let's do the one on the bottom. That's going to be 5 across there, according to that line. 5 by 6, so that would be 5 times 6, or 30. And then we've got one rectangle left we got to figure out. That's this side right here, and that is 4 along there and 6 along there. So 4 by 6 equals 24. And we get 30, 30, 60, 84. What are we doing? Surface area, square feet. Okay, 84 square feet. Now, the key is you really have to visualize what you're doing and what you're trying to find, and break it down and do each part individually and show your work. Put that down when you're figuring it out. You'll just be more organized if you do that. It just works so much better if you do it that way. Okay, let's look at B. B is a lot easier. Those rectangular prisms are so much simpler. Remember, it's 2 times, and just pick 2 different ones, 9 and 21, plus 2 times 21 and 6, plus 2 times, what haven't I used together? I haven't used the 9 and the 6 together, so 9 and 6. And I'm just going to do it like that, and that's all I've got to do. Just write it out like that. That comes out to be 738. So hopefully you got 738 when you did this. Now guys, you really need to make sure you work these problems. If you just wait and let me do it all for you, you will not remember it when it comes to the test. And guys, that is the key. That is the most important thing. All right, one last one. Let's take a look at that one. Once again, it's the triangles, or it's the triangular prism. And so let's figure out what we've got here. We've got a triangle. So we're going to say we got 2 of them, and that's 1/2 times the base. Looks like it's going to be 4. It looks like this is my base and this is my height. So 4 times 3.5. And 4 times 3.5 is, let's see, 12, and 2, 14. So that's going to equal 14. And then I've got to figure out the edges here. This one right here looks like 4 and 7. Now that's pretty simple. 4 times 7 equals 28. And looks like this one, looks like this is probably an isosceles one, so this is the same over here. 4 times 7. And let's see, what do we got on the back side? We have 7 by 4. Okay, equilateral. Okay, 4 by 7, another 28 when we put that all together. So the total on that one, when it's all said and done, if we add all those up, should give me 98. Okay. All right. So that's prisms. But we've got a little bit left to do here. We've got to talk about cylinders. Cylinders, what we have when we have a cylinder is we've got 2 circles And then we've got this part that goes around it. Now think of like a tin can. If you took the top off and you took the bottom off and then you cut right down the side, you could flatten that out. And when you do that, you get a rectangle. So you're going to get this rectangle. Now that rectangle depends very much on what the radius or diameter is of that circle that goes along with it. So we can figure out the length, in this case this is the length, that is equal to the circumference. So if you think about it, the circumference we said is the distance around a circle. Well, that's what this is, the distance around the circle. So the length of my rectangle becomes the circumference. Circumference is 2 pi r. And then take that times the height of it. So what we have are 2 circles and 1 rectangle when we're figuring this out. So we have 2 congruent circles, both with radius r, and we have 1 rectangle with the width of h and the length of 2 pi r. So now you can think of it individually and do it that way, or if you want to, let's take a look at this. Let's walk through this again, because I think this gets a little bit confusing. If we're talking about a circle, we know that a circle's area is pi r squared, but we have 2 circles. We have the top and we have the bottom. And then we have the main part of the can, or the main part of the cylinder here. And that is equal to the circumference times the height. Well, the circumference is 2 pi r. Okay? So we have 2 pi r times what my height is, times the height. And then we have to add that together. Okay? So it's this one plus that one. So, write this formula down. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. That is my formula to figure out the surface area of a cylinder. Now, it's not really hard once you get it. I mean, if you look at it, the only thing, we've got r and we've got h. Those are really our only variables. The 2 and 2 pi is simply a number that's 6.28 that you're going to get every time when you do that. All right? So here's my formula. Once again, let's do an example here. Find the surface area of this cylinder. So the radius is r. Our radius is 2. And the height is 3. We'll plug in what you know. There's my formula. 2 times pi, we'll use 3.14, times r squared, 2 squared, plus 2 times 3.14 times r times the height of 3. And how about if instead of writing in r, I put in the number? That would be easier. 2. Okay, so 2 times 3.14 times 2 squared, or 4. 2 times 3.14 times 2 times 3. And just punch that into the calculator. At this point in time, you can always use calculators for these things. You don't have to, you're not going to have to calculate all this out by hand. And that equals 62.8 rounded to the nearest tenth. All right, a few more for you to do. D, E, and F. Please do those now. All right, so let's go ahead and solve these particular ones. And once again, let's just start with the formula. Let's write that down, and we know that S, the surface area, is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, so first one, 2 times 3.14 times 5 squared plus 2 times 3.14 times 5 times 10. So this really isn't there's not really a tough thing to it, other than you just plug in the numbers. You just got to get the numbers put in there, plug them all in, and everything should work out. If you do that one, you should have come up with 471.2 millimeters squared. Okay, let's do E. This was D. Let's do E. Same kind of thing. 2 times 3.14 times the radius 6.5 squared plus 2 times 3.14 times 6.5 times 4. And that would give you 428.8 square inches. All right, and the last one, F. All right, let's cheat on this one. I'm going to say, instead of 2 times 6.14, I'm going to say 6.28 times, 7 is not what we want to use. We want to use 3.5 squared. Because remember, we only want the radius. This is the diameter. We don't want the diameter. Plus 2, well, we're cheating on that one. We're going to use 6.18 or 6.28 plus times 3.5 times 14.8. And if you punch all that in, you should get 402.4 square centimeters. All right, well, that's the end of that particular section there. So I think you're ready to get started.